Hello, and welcome to the Coach Therapy Podcast. I'm Coach Q, and I am so excited that you decided to tune in today. We're going to take a journey through vulnerability so that we can reach clarity, healing, growth, and success. You're going to learn some things about you, you'll learn some things about me, but most importantly, you will receive tools every episode that will help you to become better every single day. Enjoy Coach Therapy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Coach Therapy Podcast. I'm Coach Q, and I am grateful that you decided to click on this podcast and check me out, see what we're going to talk about. And we're going to be talking about vulnerability, healing, getting better, being the very best version of ourselves in so many different aspects. That's what we do on this show. And um, I'm excited because I'm about to start having a couple of guests trickle in on a couple of episodes, and then sometimes you'll just get me. But we're gonna just continue. We are going strong, and we got quite a few episodes up under our belt now, and we're moving, and Coach Therapy is growing. And so just thank you for watching. Thank you every time you share the video, share a clip that I have on social media, whatever it may be. I just want to say thank you and let you know that I really do appreciate it, because you're helping me to grow, you're helping me to reach others, and I don't take that lightly. So let me just tell you a little bit of something. I was in the shower the other day, and I was thinking about when I was in college, and I was thinking about the experience that I had that was really life changing, right? And I was thinking about, and let me be more specific. So I did share in a previous episode that I was raped in college. Today I want to go into it a little bit more in more detail, and I want to share some of the impacts that it had on me throughout my life and how it really taught me the difference between building a wall and a boundary. And they seem pretty much the same, but they can be very different in the context of our lives. And I'll get into all of that. So let me just share the story in detail for some of you. So my senior year of college, it's been about 14 years ago now. So your girl's, she climbing Jacob's ladder, you know. But 14 years ago, my senior year of college, I was taking an immunology class, and I had a project that was due. And I partnered with one of my male classmates, which we were friends, knew him for a couple of years, and we had partnered before and took a lot of classes together. Fine. This day was no different. So we had to finish up the project. He came over to my apartment at the time, and we were working on our project, and he was on one sofa, I was on another, and we had our laptops out, and we were just kind of working. And I remember him getting up off the couch and walking over to me. And at first I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Thinking like he's playing. And I'm like happy go lucky, like, yo, chill. Like nothing seemed alarming whatsoever. Um, and I remember him unzipping his pants. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I got more serious, like, yo, what are you doing? And then I had on like this little jacket that had like a little zipper on it. And he reached over to unzip my shirt jacket thing. And I remember like then being more aggressive, like, yo, stop, what are you doing? Stop. He got more forceful and more forceful. And he was trying to force himself onto me. He was trying to pull off my pants. And it just he got very aggressive. And he climbed on top of me, and I was just like trying to fight him off. And I eventually broke away from him. Like I broke free, and I made it to the door, and I unlocked the door, and I opened the door, and he came up behind me. And he slammed the door, and he clicked it. He locked it, and I just remembered the click sound of him locking that door. And I remember feeling very afraid, very helpless in that moment, because although I'm telling this story very quickly, um, it it wasn't a quick event, right? So the tussling went on for a long time, and when I finally made it to the door and I opened it, I finally was like, "Yo, I'm about to get out of this," and like my heart is beating, my adrenaline is up, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna get out." And he slammed the door. I couldn't get out. And he proceeded to force himself onto me. And I remember just fighting him back as much as I possibly could, just fighting him back until I just eventually just gave up. I was just like, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he was silent. He wasn't saying anything to me. He just was doing it to me. He was just forcing himself onto me. And I remember getting up and instantly I went in the bathroom and I started washing myself off because I felt very dirty. I just felt disgusting. And he was there. He was like watching me wash myself off. And he came behind me and he unzipped his pants again. He got behind me and I just remember saying to him, "Excuse my French, are you fucking kidding me?" And he it seemed like when I said that something snapped in him and he stopped. Like he just stopped dead and walked away. And he went and he started looking for his phone and he came back and I'm like, oh my God. He came back and he was like, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" I'm like, "I don't know where your phone is." Mind you, we were in the living room and the living room was a complete mess from all of the tussling and just like papers, our computers, the sofas shifted, like everything, because this is a tussle. Like nothing about this was just like this ease. And so I was thinking about that situation. I don't think about it often, but in October it'll be 14 years, I believe, since this occurred. And I was thinking about it, and so I guess it's just the timing. It's coming up, and so I think my body, your body sometimes can feel the trauma even when you're not thinking about it. Your body can just let you know that trauma is near or grief is near or just things. Your body will let you know, and so I think that sometimes my body will just remind me of the situation. And honestly, I tried to record this podcast before and it was triggering for me and I discovered something else. But what I was thinking about in the shower is that throughout my life, I called myself um, creating boundaries, um, so that a situation like that could never happen to me again. But I really was building a wall. And what do I mean is that I just know that my dating life has been impacted significantly because there have been times where I met great people, but I wouldn't let them in. I had a wall up. It wasn't a boundary. It wasn't just protecting myself, but it was shutting myself off to the possibility of love or relationship out of fear. And it took me years to overcome. And I'm so grateful to be at a place in my life where I can share this story um, without the emotions. Doesn't mean that I don't sometimes feel emotional when I tell it. However, I have grown and I've healed so much, so much. I've done a lot of work to get beyond that point. But this is the reality. I have since becoming aware of the the walls that I've built. I am now working to tear those walls down and really put boundaries in place. Because sometimes we are our own worst inhibitors because we're protecting ourselves. When we go through something traumatic and painful and just awful, we go into protective mode, as we should. We have to protect ourselves. But we also have to be careful that we are not punishing ourselves with our protective measures. It's been 14 years. And I realized that I have to shift the way that I protect myself because things are a little bit different now. Does that mean let my guard down? Heck no. I listen, I know better, right? I've learned. But I have to also let myself know that I don't have to treat every man that I meet like the person who raped me. Healing is also discernment. You get discernment from your healing. As you journey through healing, you're able to know, is that a trigger or is it that the person? Like starting to ask myself, like, well, are you triggered right now? Or are they unsafe? And it's really teaching me when I should build a wall and when I should create a boundary. And so I wanted to share this because I feel like many of us, be it the situation as traumatic, more traumatic, or not as traumatic as the one that I just described, how have you tried to keep yourself safe? And how has your safety kept you from the things that you really desire? I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying, I just want to find somebody to kick it with, but I don't really want to be committed. And I was like, yo, why not? Like, we getting older, why you don't want to commit? And she was just like, because I done got my heart broke and I've been crushed and I'm not into that. And I was like, so in your relationships, you built a wall. She was like, no, I didn't build a wall. I'm like, you built a wall. You have a wall up. You have a wall up against commitment in order to protect yourself from being hurt when we could be hurt still, even with the walls that we built. And so it just made me realize that we have to be careful when we go through traumatic situations that we don't imprison ourselves and completely cut ourselves off from just the enjoyment of life. We deserve to enjoy life. We deserve to experience joy and happiness. Even after the most painful situations, we still deserve to really feel fulfilled in our lives. And sometimes that can be very tough to do. It can be very difficult to reach a level of fulfillment when we have been through something that has rocked our worlds completely. And when I tell you that situation rocked me to my core, it rocked me to my core. And I am realizing that, man, all of these years later, it still has an impact. All of the healing that I've done, it still has an impact on me. Are you kidding me? But I'm so glad that I discovered it because now it's teaching me, like, okay, this is how you need to shift and you need to move, and you are wiser in this area. So continue to utilize the wisdom, but it creates room for me to be flexible. Boundaries are for me. I put boundaries in place for me so that I am protected. But when you build walls, that's so nobody else can get in, right? And I don't want a wall. I realize that, like, wait a minute, I don't want to have a wall up. That's not the goal for me. I don't want to be just alone and not allowing anybody to come in and not allowing anybody to know me. And so even in doing this podcast, I realized that that's healing for me because it's tearing down the walls that I built and it's allowing me to be vulnerable with just me and my experiences and what I need. And then it allows me to even practice that in some aspects of my life. But it's the awareness. And so it was like, woof, sometimes we get hit with that self-awareness and we realize things about us ourselves that we didn't know before. But it's not enough just to be aware. We have to also now be accountable. So here I am aware of the impacts of the trauma. And now I'm holding myself accountable to not be a prisoner of that impact because I deserve to live my best life. And I also have enough wisdom to know that everybody is not going to yield the same experience, right? And maybe there was a time when I was not as aware. The situation has definitely created a heightened sense of awareness um, in my life, and just extra. I pay extra attention to things. um, However, I want to still enjoy because I deserve it. Why shouldn't I enjoy my life um, in its totality? But it's allowing myself to tear down the walls. It was necessary at that point in my life that I built those walls up. I was young and I was, in college and away from family. And I built walls because I was so afraid. But since then, I've grown, have so much more wisdom, and surrounded by more people that love me, family and friends, that I don't have to build these walls. I set the boundaries, but not the walls because I want to let love in. I deserve that. I deserve to let love in. You deserve to let love in. I don't know what has happened in your life that has caused you to clam up, to build a brick house around you, and you are just stuck inside wanting something more, but because of the fear and because of the trauma, you're not allowing yourself to access it. I want you to begin to chip away at those walls and let love in. Let love into your heart. Forgive. I had to forgive. And I know that sounds crazy. I did have to forgive. I never had a conversation with him to say, "Oh, I forgive you." No, I didn't do any of that. But for me, it was, I forgive. In my heart, I forgive and I move forward. And so that I could chip away at the wall. So I could chip away and really start to experience a fullness of life and fullness of joy. And I am just at a place where I just want joy to come in, joy to just surround my life, and I want to enjoy myself and have a good time, and I want to trust. And I realize that the only way that I do that is by chipping away at the walls that I have built to protect myself. Last week in the podcast, I talked about survival mode, and some of the things that we do in survival mode are not necessary once we reach a place of healing and thriving. And so in survival mode, it was important for me to stay in those walls so I wouldn't go insane. That was necessary, but I am no longer in survival mode. I have entered into a phase of healing. I have entered into a phase of thriving, and I don't need to keep myself locked up in those walls and keep myself pinned away from the things that have traumatized me. It's no, I am better. I am better. And because I'm better, I'm going to treat myself like I'm better. I don't want to put a bandage on a scar. Why would, if I had a scratch on my arm and it's just a scar, why would I go and put a band-aid on it? That's an indication that it's still a wound. I realize that that wound has healed in my life and I don't want to treat it like a wound any longer. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to say, "Hey, y'all, this is a scar." When I share that story, that is me saying, "Hey, this is my scar. Yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt me. Yes, it damn near traumatized me and killed me. However, I am better. Today, I'm better. I'm better because of it. I've healed from it. I've been able to help so many individuals who have experienced similar situations. I'm able to talk to them. I'm able to utilize this experience that I've had in coaching. And now I am also ready to let love in. Your girl is ready to let the love in. And so, as we heal, we have to make sure that we're healing not just what hurt us emotionally, but that we're getting better emotionally too, right? Because all around, sometimes we are damaged in one area and it affects other areas. So when we heal, we have to heal completely. So I am experiencing that complete healing. And it feels good, y'all. I feel good. It feels good to just be able to share this with you all just from a place of being an overcomer. It feels good. You know, life can put us through situations where we feel like we will never get out of it. We feel like we can never recover. And sometimes we feel like we can never smile again. But I am proof that, child, you going to smile again. And you will recover and you will be better because of it. You might be in the thick of it right now and you might be saying, "Girl, you have no clue." And perhaps I don't. But I'm telling you, if you just hang in there, you're going to see the other side of it. It's another side of it. And I understand that you are building walls right now to protect yourself. And I understand that um, you've maybe isolated yourself from everybody, and you're just telling yourself no right now. You can't have that. I'm not doing that anymore. That's fine. It's necessary if you're in survival mode. But as you begin to heal, I'm going to challenge you to chip away at the walls that you've built and allow the light to enter back into your life, allow the love to enter back into your life, allow yourself to experience the things that you desire. You deserve that, especially after all that you've been through, after all of those tears that you've cried. You deserve the good seasons in your life, and I want you to enjoy them to the fullest. I hope that me sharing my story and my truth about the things that I've been through will help you. I hope that you will find the strength and the courage to heal. And I pray that you find the power within yourself to live another day. You got this. I promise you. It might not feel like it today, but you got it. You'll look back on this moment and say, "Look at me. I got through it." So hang in there, and I'll talk to you next time.